G'day Rankers, welcome back. I've been so busy, I've been doing speaking gigs, got another one next week I'm doing on agentic workflows. So if you're interested in starting to play with these agentic workflows, then head across to this link. It'll be in the description as well, wherever you see this. And just hit me up and I'll send you what I've been handing out to a few of these audiences. Now, my mind is blown, again, as it is every week. I'm not going to talk about all the Google changes from last week because we've been predicting those for the last 3 years. I'm seeing people saying now that we need to replace ourselves with AI stuff. If you go back and have a look at the videos from 3 years ago, you can see it's what we were saying. You need to focus on the brand, make the brand stronger. We've got some things coming out in that area as well. But the other thing that has just been blowing my mind with what we're doing is the power of agentic workflows and what it means for business economics. Because, I've done a few examples. I can't even remember if I told you this story, but I've set up a lot of different agents for different functions. And now, because my Hermes agent, which is the agentic harness that I use, its memory gets better every day. It knows more about my business, my workflows, the context of a client, client goals, everything. So it's like the best personal assistant you can have. It's also a CEO advisor. It's also now a chief financial officer. It's got access to Xero. It's setting up invoices for me. It's building SaaS products that we currently use that are not agentic friendly, and it's rebuilding those. And it rebuilt one for me this morning. I just said, this is a pain in the bum every time I try to use this. It was only a $50 a month SaaS fee, but I didn't use it that often, and every time I went in, the UX was horrible, not like any other UX you've ever seen. And your brain has to do all this resetting, work out where things are, all this sort of stuff. And it just takes time. And, I said to my agent, are you aware of a product like this that has, agentic access? And it said, well, let's not do that. Let's build our own and we'll use this other third party to, plug in the thing that this other thing does that, we can't build. I went, great. So it's half my cost on the SaaS bill, well, more than half. And it means I don't have to leave my agent now. I can just say, go and do this thing. And it connects directly with the tool that I've given it. And it has the skills, it knows how to use that tool, has business context, brings all that across. And, as I think I told you, recently we did, every day I'm doing what would be the equivalent of taking probably a week to do. I'm doing it in a day. I'm doing things so fast now. And of course, as I said to a client yesterday, I said, look, we can do so much now and we can do it so quickly, especially on Shopify sites. But the issue is that we don't want to do it too quickly because we need to wait for all the bots to crawl, absorb the data, assess the data, and then adjust their perspective of these pages accordingly. And so that's the thing that's taking the time now, is it's not the work getting done. And all of a sudden that opens up new markets for us. Despite what you might hear about, all this hype about AI search and versus SEO and all those things, it's not about that. What it's about is that the world is changing to an agentic first web. And that means agents are going to be the main visitors on your sites, whether they're agents represented from Google or whether it's my Hermes agent going out and having a look at your site. Everything is going to be agents first. And the reason I know this and the reason I'm predicting this is because it makes life easier. That's why and when I wrote about these things that were happening that Google's just announced, and why I wrote about them in my book, is because it just makes sense. It's easier, it's a better experience. Simple as that. And water finds its own level, and that's what this is about. It's just like if it makes sense for the user to go that way, then the world is going to shift that way. And I can tell you right now, the work that I'm doing and the results from the work that I'm doing, and I brought you that example a couple of weeks ago. I can now report that yes, it's happened to 2 sites where we've applied these changes that were highlighted by our Shopify app score. We've applied the changes, applied the fixes. Both sites' revenue has increased since those fixes were applied, and both sites have seen an increased crawl from Google AI bots in the score AI activity report. So I'm rolling it out to more clients. And of course, there's a lot of things going on with any one client, any one time. So you've got to schedule, you've got to make sure that, one change you're making over here isn't affecting a change you're making over here, or clouding the data, those sorts of things. And for those people who have asked, yes, I have this screen over here is actually score for WooCommerce, and I'm just putting the final touches to it now. And we've got a couple of beta testers that are going to be testing that for us. So stay tuned for that one. But please, if you have any questions about any of this, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, comment, and if you want to get my info pack on agentic workflows, just follow that link that you see on screen now, or click on it in the description wherever you see this video on your favorite platform. Thanks very much, and we will see you next week. Bye.